Hello. Here we are again, ladies like us. Keisha, how are you today?
I'm fantastic. And yourself?
I am good. How was your week? Are again,
Oh,
ladies like
shoot.
us.
Sorry. It's good. It was good.
Um,
Very informative.
very informative.
Uh huh.
That's what's up. What are you doing today?
Nothing. Adjusting to this time because pretty soon it'll be dark and it'll be time to get up to go to work.
That is true.
But I did go to the gym and all of that this morning, so I'm good.
Oh, the gym. That's where I need to be. That's where I need to be. I got one strong area. It's on the right, but the left is not at all.
See,
I'm a
I'm
little.
opposite. My right side is weaker than my left side.
Mm, I'm strong and mighty on the right.
I'm gonna work it out though. Don't worry, I'm gonna work it out. Work them kinks out.
Are you ready to talk about the main topic today with our special guest about child support, supporting our children?
Yes, ma'am.
So today, guys, we're going to have Jim Savage come on and help us talk from the male perspective about child support and fathers supporting children. Let's see when he shows up. Here we go. Hey, Jim,
Hello, hello, hello.
how are you?
I'm doing quite well. How about you? Well, you ladies, y'all all right?
I'm good. Keisha, you
Yes,
good?
yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I'm good.
Golden.
How was your week, Jim?
It was very exciting. Hung out with the kids.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I kind of like hanging out with my kids, but then something always happens, and I'd rather not. I'd rather go hang out at the bar. Anyway, we are talking about child support, supporting your child, and the need, um, the need for support if your parent isn't being the best parent. So I'll start with the child support. Everybody should know the child support is the sum of a percentage for the non-custodial parent to pay to the custodian parent. It's a contribution for the child's living, the food, and shelter. Supporting your child, right? You can support your child in different ways, like academically, be an advocate if they have some issues, food, meals, and adapting to situations. And then needing support because of your parent. That's I think cause of immaturity for parents from parents, and then the child needs therapy. Since Jim, you are a guest, do you want to start? What do you think about child support?
Um, I believe it's necessary due to certain situations of certain situations. Put it that way. Um, let's see. I know it arrived from what is it? War when the man leaves the home to go to war, and if he passes, they leave you something to support the child at the home and all that good stuff. That's where it arrived from. I know.
Beneficiary.
Excuse me. What happened?
Beneficials. Um,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. But I know like they made the laws, or whatever, and there's still the same laws as back when the situation was different. You know what I mean? So they haven't been updated. I do believe that the parents should automatically support the child any which way necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But due to the way people are having kids are having kids, everybody's still growing up. You know what I mean? And still trying to figure out their situation. So you could plan a life, but it's never going to happen the way you think it's going to. Um, so even when the work aspect, where it goes to your percentage of how much you're getting paid at work,
Mm-hmm.
um, sometimes life changes. And I think there should be an option to, kind of refigure how to do your child support due to your living situation. You know what I mean? If we have to, if we have to do it, I believe it should be something like that, because you're still supporting. But if we always get put in a position where it's either do it or don't. You know what I'm saying? And then like if you don't, you get pretty much put in a situation where how can you? And you know what I mean? You're locked up. So if you give us a chance to live enough to pay the support, you show and give support. You know what I mean? I think if it has to be, it should work out that way. You should have some type of guidance or some type of option to
Right. So drunk, we are talking about child support, supporting your child, and the child needing support because the parent is a little immature or whatever, and then therapy. So it's like a 3-point topic. And since it's best to have a male perspective when it comes to child support, because women and men have to pay for it, Jim is on. So just answering drunk. Keisha, what do you think?
So my thing with child support is whether you're a man or a woman, again, you should be able to come to a happy medium where it pertains to the child. There has to be some type of communication. If you can't communicate, that's when courts and stuff get involved. However, when that happens, you have some parents that get bitter because they don't feel like courts should be involved. But if you can't come to a happy medium as two mature adults, who else to get involved? But when it comes to paying child support, I feel like the child, it's both parents' responsibility to take care of a child mentally, physically, emotionally. And it doesn't always have to be about monetary things, because some people can't afford it like that. And I mean, you do what you can when you can. It's just about being a part of your child's life if you so choose to do that.
Oh, okay. Sorry, drunk. I thought I misunderstood the comment. I apologize. The reason why I brought up the topic again about child support is because of this whole new laws where women can't have abortions in certain states. And that's going to become a problem because they're going to want the male that got them pregnant to help support. That's going to bring up a lot of people that not necessarily would have asked for child support to actually have to request it. So that's why I brought it back up. So, Jim, do you think a man is needed to support the child regardless if he pays child support or not? What's your perspective on it?
Both parents are always needed to support a child. For the child to get what it needs the most.
Okay.
So
What do you think the child needs?
The child needs all your attention, your whole life. No, they need that. Like the first thing they need is love, because if you didn't love they would know you don't love your child. They could feel that off you. But they need love. They need attention, and that's what helps them want to pay attention and want to receive the message that you have to give them, because they are little aliens, like we talked about before. So I just think that no matter what, there should be a process put together where if we want a better outcome for our children, there has to be a law to kind of force counseling for people who are having children, no matter what situation it is. So it could be a better outcome for the child, regardless. Because since we already know that adults can't get along, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean, due to their, feelings in the situation they're in, whatever. No matter what it is, it could be a forced one, one that you choose, one that you don't choose. But there has to be something to better our children. And it has to be really a law. If you want a better outcome in life, it starts with the children. So there
Okay.
has to be something like embedded into life where we have to save the children.
Do you think we need a mediator?
Mediator,
Yeah.
some type of mediator, some type of just a system put together for the kids.
Okay.
Like I don't care, like damn the adults. I don't care about your feelings. What's the best result for the kids? Because we already have the knowledge that adults can't get along. What are we going to do after that?
But in a lot of circumstances, the women have to go and ask for support of the child. I
They
can
do.
only speak from. I'm sorry.
I said, yeah, yes, they do. Yep, you're right.
Yeah. So they're not even thinking it costs for living, like shelter for the child and food. And um, I know in in my life, there's been a lot of people that say, "Oh, your child's heavy." Well, fast food is less expensive and not paying for everything, and the child needs to eat. Then that's what they're going to get. So, what do you think about child support? Is definitely something that has to be done because the mom has to pay for things, or vice versa. Like Keisha said, a man or a woman. Jim.
Um, like I said, if you put the system together, you help each other take the load off each other. It's going to work regardless. If there's a system where you guys are forced to make it work for the child, like you're gonna have to do this for the, you know what I mean? Like what you can't supply, this one can't. What this one
Mhm.
can't, this one can't. That, you know what I mean? Like if you're working together, you're gonna develop what it needs to take care of that child. So I think that has to be a must.
I think so too. Keisha, what do you think?
So my
You're not.
thing is, when do either party come outside of themselves and do, like he said, do what's in the best interest of the child without having to have people involved? Because again, the bottom line is you're doing what's best for the child. So there has to be a way where parents can find a way to get along without them including other people. I think that it's sometimes both parties are too stubborn to come outside of themselves to put the child's needs first, which is why we keep having the situations where neither parties want to be involved with each other. But then, too, when you add another layer to that, what were you thinking when you decided to get that individual pregnant? Like, you didn't know the person's characteristics prior to that happening? Because there's so many different layers that you can peel about this topic. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's what's important for the child.
Right.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right about that one. We go down. It's a huge rabbit hole when it's in a situation. Because man, having a child thrives from all types of bad choices, good choices, jacked up choices. You know what I mean? But the whole thing is the child is here. What are we going to do now? Um, to be honest with you, you want to start from the beginning. Everybody needs to start practicing discipline sexually. You know what I mean? Like, really, what's more important? Getting your bones jumped off, or creating a future for something better. You know what I mean? If like my favorite saying is "practice what you preach," and I had to learn that the hard way. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Now, what about these teenagers, these kids? I mean, they don't have the maturity, and the state will make them pay child support because, say, Susie doesn't have enough money to raise the child, and the mother decided she had to go because she got pregnant. Or,
But that goes back to, though, teaching your children about. So cycle only way cycles can break is if you have the conversation. I feel like there's not there are not enough conversations being had with the younger generation, which
Mhm.
is why we see younger kids having babies, and to be honest, they don't know how to raise some don't know how to raise the children that they have. So
Right.
with that being said, it goes back to community. We've been talking about communication. It's all about communication. And although you do have some rebellious kids who from both sides that feel, well, I don't have to listen to you. You don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. It's still, having the conversation because no one's ready. No one's ready to have a child, to be honest. But when you have that child, you just have to navigate through life to be the best parent that you can be for your child, whether you are with the child's father or you're with the child's mom. It's all about what's in the best interest of the child.
So in sex education in school, they should have a therapist as well.
I don't feel like everything, but we put so much emphasis on what everybody else should be doing outside of the home. What is being done inside of the home?
Okay.
You can't put that just on the school because then again you're saying that you're allowing the school to raise your child. You as a parent have the responsibility to teach your child, and if you have to get a therapist involved to get the child to get an understanding, then that's what you have to do.
But they're teaching the kids in school at a young age about sex, but
Well,
not the consequences.
but again, somebody has to have the conversation. If parents aren't willing to do that at home, who else is going to do it?
Okay.
What if we stop teaching sex in school? Like, that's not like, why are we having other people teach our child about sex? That is our own personal. We watch our children on a daily basis, their emotions, what they go through. You know what I mean? Like all that. We should be responsible for that sex discussion right there. Then you'll know where it's coming from.
So should there be
Whatever situation goes. Take all that out. What the only thing we really need in school is a trait, something that, because that's all the world is about right now. If you don't have a trade, then where you going to be? That's all you need from school: teaching trades, finance, and stuff like that. At home, that's the home things, the cleanliness, you know what I mean. Physical education. Yes, you can still have that in school, but it should be sports and gym. You should automatically have to work out in school no matter what. You know what I mean? It keep those things right there in school. You don't need to teach my child nothing about no sex, nothing. It's none of your
And I
business.
agree with that. But however, again, it goes back to some parents are not even wanting to have the conversation with the child. So if you're not willing to have the conversation, you can't get mad if the school system is having a conversation because you, as a parent, are unwilling to have that conversation. It goes back to communicating. Yes, I believe that the school should have only be allowed to do so much, but again, parents fall short because they don't want to do they don't want to do what they need to do on their part either.
I agree with you, but if you take it out to schools, which those are the ones that are mainly with our kids most of the day, if you take it out to schools, there's no choice. There's no other choice but you to teach them that. They won't learn it from the outside world because they're in school. They're not teaching that. So they won't know nothing about sex, which leaves them room to be children
But
for the longest period of time.
you do know there are some parents that don't have the time to teach their children, or they'll make that excuse that they don't, and that's why there's teachers in the anyway.
At what age do you really need to learn about sex?
You should learn about sex right when the girl gets her period. So when
At
that
what age is
changes,
that?
It all depends because my
it depends
child,
on the body.
exactly, it depends on the body. My child,
Well, if we do some, I don't know about it, but if they do statistics, it's usually like at 12, 13, maybe 11.
no, that's not
Close
true.
enough.
Can we see majority? Can we think of a majority?
No, not with all of the way that food has the hormones and stuff in food. I had my daughter in 2000. She had her first menstrual cycle when she was 9 years old.
Okay.
She started developing breast in kindergarten, so that's not true.
At what age are they teaching sex
Third
in
grade,
school?
5th grade,
How old are you in 5th grade?
10.
Well, it
So
all
they're
depends too, based on your birthday.
right. So they're like a year or two behind. Yeah. So 9 for some, like Sana said, and I agree because mine were 8.5.
So at the age of 10,
Mm-hmm.
there's no parents that still haven't like developed enough time to teach their kid about why you're about to bleed, why you're bleeding, to finally teach them about motherhood.
But
I
you
will
have that
say,
conversation. But you have that as a woman, you have that conversation well before your child starts their cycle, because girls want to know, they're trying to understand their body. They want to know what's going on with their body. So sometimes, like, okay, when my daughter had her, luckily my child was home when she had a period, but if she would have had it at school, what was I going to do? That's why I already had conversations with her about it, because she wanted to know, what is it that you get every month?
Okay.
Now, for me personally,
I'm a guy. I'm trying to learn.
when I was in the school system, there are a lot of things that parents, they mention, but they don't give them all the information. So therefore, they're like, well, they'll say Miss K this, Miss K that, and sex was part of it because.
But all right, but back to what I was saying though, she said that you taught her that. You had to teach her that, right? That to early age that might come along. You taught her that as her mother.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. That's what needs to happen.
But
not the school.
But you also have to realize that there are, again, when you're talking about it also goes about maturity level, because there are some parents that are not mature enough to have that conversation with the child, which is why a lot of times the school is responsible for telling the child, because parents refuse to have the conversation. If you're not a parent that, like for me and my daughter, we had the thing where we talked about everything. And as she got older, they don't want to talk to you about some things. But when she was younger, we talked about everything. It's all about you having the conversation with your children to begin with. And like, again, not all parents are mature enough to have that conversation.
Okay, I understand that. So what is the solution then?
Parents have to be parents and do what they have. Parents still have to be parents. Parents are choosing not to be parents.
But you're saying parents are not being parents.
Some parents are not being parents if they're not.
Change that.
Excuse me?
So how are we going to change that?
Parents have to grow they have to decide what they're going to do, what's in the best interest of their child. There's no simple answer to that, because what I may do, you may not do, or Kayla may not do. So it's a personal choice. You have to decide what you're going to do that's going to be in the best interest of your child. And saying to take it out of the school, if you want to take it out of the school, then are parents going to go and take a course? Because that's what it's going to end up doing is, well, parents need to take a course to teach their children about sexual education. If you don't want the schools to be involved, then when are the parents going to step up and do their part as parents?
Well, then that's a great idea. You should separate it and have the kids learn kid shit. Sorry for cursing. And then if you want to teach it, if they want to teach the kids what they need to know in that area, teach the parents to teach the kids, because those are the ones with them on a daily basis when it comes to their personal situations. Because I eliminate other people around your kids having the control of your kids when you don't have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you see as we let that freedom happen, all types of things happen. You know what I'm saying? The safety of our kids, the safety of our kids' minds are more important, to be honest with you.
So does that go hand in hand with the child support? If we stop letting someone else be in charge of it, it'd be better.
Right. Well, check this out.
Okay.
Say that the father really didn't have a chance to be in the kid's life that much to see the kid, but he had a chance to be in the school system to make a change for his kid in the school system.
Okay.
What if that was an option? What if he had an option to do his due diligence within a system that's helping his kid out?
So an advocate.
Like, give us options that are not just shut the fuck up and go to jail. Fine, go sell. Basically, it's like, go sell drugs, bro, because your time is limited. That's all they're really saying.
So support your child. See, the second part.
Support your child, but there's so many different ways to support your child. Everybody always think, oh, you got to come out your pocket. Well, how am I supposed to live then? Because you're not giving me the option to live. But I know all these other options, they do it all the time. There's people who sometimes do have a civil situation with the parent, right? And they split times up. Sometimes times are changed, and they're civil enough to change the times up. There's no contract. If you don't have enough money, all right, so you take them more this week. since you can't give up that much money, or something. Next week you contribute to half of the when you get the money, half of the daycare, or work things out. There's options you can use within these situations instead of making someone's life worse, so they really can't even do what you asked me to do.
So what
You
if
automatically put them in a bad situation, because there's a lot of fathers that I know out there who really, and I'm gonna be straight the fuck up, who get turned into being a deadbeat dad.
okay, but what about the fathers that know that the mother has the child, but they don't want to do anything for the child? And they're like, well, she already knows. She knows how to put shelter, put the kid in the daycare. She knows everything. So therefore, I'm not helping. She already has more money than me. I don't need the support. But then wants to say that, oh, that's my kid. Like if we're in public, come over here to dad type thing.
I almost had to deal with that type of option.
Okay.
Which I would never. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, you're mine. But they put that option in my face. I had to laugh at them. But then I thought about all these other people, and they get put in these situations. If a person doesn't want to be involved, you eliminate their involvement. You have them, like, because I got asked to sign something to give my rights away, and I would not be able to even follow. I can't do anything for my kids the way I want to, because I can't, I have to follow rules. My rights is done. You know what I mean? So there has to be that option in the air right there. Sign this contract. You really do that? You have no rights after that. It is what it is. And that goes back to what Keisha was saying, the communication.
Right.
Communicate that. Bring the person to the door. Hey, you don't want the rights? Sign this paper. You don't have to worry about it no more. It'll make you think about it.
But the modern woman doesn't want to hear about signing a paper and you telling her this is what's going to happen.
But what he's saying though is giving I'm going to say either party, because I'm not going to just say man, I'm going to say the woman as well, giving either party the option out to not be a part. So if you're going to sign over your parental rights, you're saying you don't want any involvement in the child. Now, don't wait until the child becomes a billionaire or a famous whatever to decide that you want to be a part of the child's life, because you decided that you wanted to sign over your parental rights. But again, it goes back to the parent's choice. If you decide that you don't want to be a part of that child's life, that's your choice. That's your choice. I think it's a cop out, because at the end of the day, I feel like when there are people that are mature enough where they can find a common ground for the sake of the child. If you if you choose to not do that, it speaks to me. It speaks volume about your character. It's just your choice, because again, it goes back to what's in the best interest of the child. So you're not putting the child's needs first if you're continuing to argue. You just want to get your point across at this point.
So should there be like a best interest of the child court instead of child support court? And
yeah, but then you have to remember.
That sounds awesome.
Remember now, if you do that, there'll be those people that'll say, well, that might be where people will say, well, I don't want to be a part of the child's life, so I'm going to sign over my rights. I just feel like I don't understand why people just can't get along. I get it. I get that you have your issues. You don't like them or whatever, but why? It just should still come back to what's in the best interest of the child. I stand on that. I mean, that's my belief.
So ladies, hold on. Are we coming to an agreement that there should be not before the child support? Because that could be a level. There could be a level of handling the situation.
Okay.
But there should be more options just before you just, hey, child support, shut up, get it done. You know what I mean? But there should be an option, what you just said. Let's just have best interest of the child court, where we go through the financials of the male, we go to the situations of the male, we go to the situation and finance of the woman, and see where the best interest is. Well, it doesn't look like you are financially able to do this or that and that. Here's other options for this or that. Do you want to be even part of the child's life? And right then and there, they'll make a decision. And there's all those people that think with their feelings first, right?
Right.
So they'll say, hold on. They'll say, no, I don't. So you sign that contract. But when time goes by, that's your shame right there. No. That's your shame right there. Because you know what? they'll go and tell that story to another person. I didn't have the chance because I was stupid. I made the wrong choices. I didn't have the chance. The next person will like, damn, I don't want to go through that. They'll start changing their minds about it. You can't give too many options for people to do shit, to fuck up shit. I'm telling you.
Wait,
I don't
okay.
think it's giving them options. I feel like there has to be a discussion, because
that's what I'm saying. That is the discussion, though.
Okay.
But I'm saying, if you don't have the discussion to okay, if you had a kid and y'all don't like each other, you still have to have the conversation as to what are we going to do. And he may say, well, I'm not ready to have a child. So, but it's whatever you decide to do. Okay, I decide to keep the child. So how are we going to work together?
I know that's the details of what I'm saying, though.
But
that's the whole part of the court. You go over what you are capable of doing, what your feelings are, to come to a conclusion of what you're capable of doing for the child.
But why can't the two of you? But why can't the two of you have the conversation without having to go to court? Because you can go to court, you can have a mutual conversation with each other and go to court and say, you know what? Well, this is what we decided. We decided to come to a happy medium, and this is what we're going to do in the best interest of the child. And I'm pretty sure the court would prefer you doing something that was working together as opposed to breaking it apart.
Yeah, I think what he's saying. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But she also said people are not doing it. So
they're not, but that's because everybody is so angry. But I'm saying you can still, I know because I've done it, you can still have a conversation with someone and it can still be in what's in the best interest of the child without doing all of that extra stuff. It's the people not wanting to do so.
All right. Have you ever, has a man ever told you this, how they've been put through child support without being asked, without, just not giving even that much to help out your child, kicked out, hit with the child support papers, you still trying to get your life together. And he has to go through those courts, and the whole court system is looking at him like, nah, you're going down, bro, no matter what, because you're a guy. And that's all you hear, that's all you get from a person. So there's no and they're not even a person that comes out the room and says, hey, come here, here's these options. Here's these options. That really gives two shits about a dude to even be like, hey, here's these options over here for you to even get on your feet. So it looks like you're a type of guy that wants to take care of your kids or whatever it may be for you to be in that situation. Someone to be like, here's the options.
Okay, wait, let me interject real quick. I'm okay with having the conversation and talking. So now I do see where you're saying signing over the rights is not that easy, or you can't sign over the rights in North Carolina. I do see that comment. Wouldn't be moving to North Carolina. The options is great, but let me give you a scenario. I'll give you my own personal scenario. I don't have child support or support of the other parent for my youngest child. Okay. If I gave him the option of just do whatever he wants, I probably don't want him anywhere a part of a part of my child's life at all. Financially, I know if you can move around, then you should be able to pay something toward a child. My child's about to be 13 years old. It would have been better if you knew that, okay, dad helped with, I don't know, anything, any kind of sport, any kind of shoes, any kind of anything, but not to do anything. That was his option. So I understand about the option thing, but what happens when his only option is whenever he feels like being the dad is what he's opted to do? Then what do you do?
Okay, but again, there's so many different layers that you can peel back, because what you have to realize, it's just not your situation. What has he gone through in the past? Has he ever seen? So I'm going to talk from me. Okay. So growing up, both parents, then my parents got a divorce. My father still paid child support. Okay. He paid because, again, he was helping my mom take care of my sisters and I. There may be a situation, in your situation, maybe he didn't get to see what it was like for his father to take care of him as a child, so he doesn't know how to do that for his own child. Like I'm saying, this is just not a simple one solution. There's so many layers that can be peeled, because if you don't know how to be a mom and he don't know how to be a father, how can you do what's in the best interest of the child if you neither of you have any type of blueprint, so to say?
Mm-hmm. So you think that there should be somebody that steps in?
I
In
feel
or
like
out
if the two of you cannot sit down and have a conversation together, you may need a mediator to do what's in the best interest. It has nothing to do with your feelings or his feelings. Again, it goes back to the best interest of the child. And yes, you may not want him to have a say in some things, or maybe nothing. But then again, I mean, it, like I said, it's a big onion to peel. There's a lot of layers.
right. So just a tidbit for anybody out there. 4 states don't even think about the mother's income when it comes to calculating the child support. So I feel for the people in Arkansas, Mississippi, Nevada, and North Dakota, um, because they're not even thinking about what she makes or anything like that. They just calculate how much the father should pay um, in child support. And I'm always talking about what the father should pay because I'm the female, but I do know that it's probably vice versa in some states. Keisha, I think you mentioned about Texas.
Yes, I don't believe they use both incomes. But then again, now I'm wondering, when you say it like that, males, are they thinking because, it's always been said that males earn more than women in some states. So could that be a reason why, again, like there are so many different layers to this question?
Mm-hmm. Jim, do you know the most common race that pays child support by any chance?
The white people. The white people.
Then who's next? Who's next?
If it ain't us, it's Spanish, and then us.
So black then Spanish?
Or vice versa. Yeah.
Or vice versa. It's black. Black people are second.
Yeah.
But people of the lighter skin complexion pay more than us. It's a 65.9%.
But you also have to realize how many of us take up the population. We are a lower percentage of our kind.
You think
around.
so?
Yeah.
The minorities, you're saying?
We're the minority, yeah. There's more white people than us around.
Okay.
So it makes the statistics a little kind of high for our percentage.
So who pays the least amount?
Asians was like, probably don't pay at all. Unless they're Americanized,
It is Asians. It is Asians. Did you know that, Keisha?
I didn't know it was Asian. I just know the thing that I looked at, it just said other. So I guess they fall into that category.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm just saying. Like, everybody, in all situations, anything could work out. As long as, like y'all said, even with relationships will always work out with communication, right?
So it is a relationship.
If you want a child support and the betterment of your child, communication is going to fix that. So I think the court system should have better options of communication for people that are having kids that are bringing something new brain into the damn world, which is so jacked up in the first place. The system should want to try to make a better system for the kids in a better place. Would they want to do that? If they wanted a better world to
makes
help.
Sense.
Yeah, it does make sense, right?
Right.
But it ain't making no dollars.
But again, that's why I'm asking, is because of the new laws with the deletion of babies and not being able to have that option. We're going to have a lot of people in the mix of the courts or outside being bitter because
they're colonizing right now.
No, what's going to end up happening is people are just going to go to states where they can have those procedures done
Like I said,
and
colonizing.
and it's just gonna make. I mean, it's gonna turn out to be a mess. Just practice safe sex. If you don't want no babies, baby, wrap it up. Take birth control. Do something. I'm just saying.
Discipline.
Exactly. Because again, with all of this going on and them trying to tell you what you can and can't do with your own body as a woman, it's ridiculous.
With your own voice, also, you see that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
With the whole Kanye West and what's the
Oh, I
best?
don't even want to talk about him.
Kyrie Irving.
Oh God.
I mean, it's all about.
We don't have to really get into that because everybody's getting into that. But how much freedom do you think you have to say to anybody, even in your own circle? Don't you question what you say to a person when you should be saying it?
Oh yeah.
But you know, but I mean, with any conversation, you know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate.
All right, but do you know what works?
Just sometimes just keeping your mouth shut, not saying nothing.
Sometimes that does, but sometimes not, because silence is compliance, right?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Well, if you don't say something, the action of you not saying nothing is what it is.
But it's not that you're complying. Sometimes silence is because nobody's going to agree with what you say. So rather than even say something, it's just best to not say nothing at all. It's not that I'm complying. It's I could say a whole lot. I'm just choosing not to say anything.
That's complying to the situation.
I don't comply to nothing because if I have a thought, I'm gonna say what I feel.
Here's the
People
thing:
just get upset.
complying is not a bad thing. Just like you said, sometimes you have to keep your mouth shut in order for things to happen. Sometimes you don't have to say what you have to say. That's compliance. So it's not a bad thing. It's just something you have to do in situations. But silence can also be compliance. It is what it is. Just say it.
That's true.
I don't know. Sometimes me and Keisha will not say something to each other because
you're saying an awful lot, right?
Because sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, Keisha, you'll learn. That's the way we think about stuff we can't say to each other. You'll learn. Like, you'll learn from, okay, because I'm going to say it, but then I'm going to leave it alone because you'll have to learn on your own type thing. Is that wrong, do you think, Jim, or should you just be saying everything?
Like I said, like Keisha said, sometimes you have to know. Complying with yourself, complying with what you know is right in a situation. Like, if you know you need to say something to him, you need to say it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you know you need to be quiet, be quiet. You know what I mean? There are things that you need to kind of look ahead with when it comes to saying something, because if you notice, like, if you let something go, it'll come back 2 times full because you let it go the first time.
Mm-hmm. True.
And the more you let it go, it comes even harder, like a spoiled brat. Right or wrong?
Right.
I
That's
agree.
all I'm saying. So you have to comply with yourself, to be honest with you.
So if we tied it in with the whole parenting thing, right? Do you think that maturity has to play a role when it comes to
maturity? Is a must when you make a mature decision.
So maybe there should be a maturity class.
The maturity class is all embedded into the betterment of that child. If you don't know how, let's teach you how. Remember those classes in school?
I don't remember
when you learn the good things. We're taking care of a baby because, you know what I mean? Taking care of CPR classes, taking care of baby classes, human what is it, anatomy, all those classes, all those things.
Oh, like when you had to keep the egg?
Yeah, you know what I mean? When the kids had to go home with the baby and shit, cry on demand or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever, shit like that.
That's just
you need to be reminded how that is without, if that's what you want to teach.
Yeah, I think they should come up with parents that don't agree.
The harsh reality, like, people need harsh reality, and that's all. And it's also a part of silence is compliance. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You have to know, like, sometimes you got to say, "Hey, nah, you need to see my face when I'm doing it." Nah, bro, not happening. Because the way I feel right now, I want to knock your neck off. So in order for it not to happen the second time, because you're gonna come 2 times full, the second time, I'm
Not the
trying not to knock your
neck.
neck off. So I got to think ahead. Let me
And
tell you now.
sometimes you have to, rather than saying what you feel, sometimes you have to take a step back so that way you could diffuse yourself from taking it to the extreme. And that's what I know for me. I have to sometimes take a step back, because if not, I can go completely left, and I can stay left for a long time. And that's bad. It's bad.
In those situations, do you look at the whole situation?
I do. I always look at the situation, and I have a friend here who taught me how to sometimes stop looking at it from because I have the tendency of always seeing it from how I would do things. So now I'm taking myself out of how I would do it and think of how somebody else might do it. If that makes any sense to you guys.
So a different perspective and a different way of thinking.
Yes, I always look at it from a different lens, because sometimes for me it's better to take myself out of the situation and look at it from all perspectives, and then I can get a better understanding without having to flip out.
Okay.
And sometimes I just like, just don't say nothing, just be quiet, just don't even say nothing. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, I like to go back to the main topic type thing. Do you think that fathers and mothers should just push back if they're not able to be a part of the child's life and not have the maturity enough to be an asset to the child? Should they actually just sit back until they can be the right type of parent and speak to the other non-custodial parent or the custodial parent?
What happens to y'all still? It goes back again. We're going to be saying this word all the time: communication. Why
Right.
can't you? But I'm saying, why can't the two individuals come outside of themselves and just have a conversation?
Okay, so I'll go back to me. Okay, so we'll go back
You're
to
stubborn, so you can't use yourself. You have to use
no,
somebody
no,
else.
no, no. It's not my stubbornness. Listen, wait, let me finish. So my choice for, I'm gonna be real honest. My choice for my last baby was because he looked good, his body type thing. But communication with him is like talking to a 7-year-old. Not like he has Down syndrome or anything. I'm talking about like he's combative and doesn't understand the concept of medicine and shelter and food, because he goes from house to house and that's how he lives. So therefore that's a problem. So when there isn't communication, do you think it's better for him to just step back until he can get there, or I step back about asking for any type of support until he gets there? In my case, until he gets there.
But look at what you said. You said he doesn't have the understanding, not
Mm-hmm.
your words, but I'm just saying he doesn't have the understanding of roof over your head, all of that, because he bounces from house to house. How
Mm-hmm.
can somebody that's bouncing from house to house, he's not where you need him to be right now. So sometimes it's just taking a step back. And although you need that assistance, when you're able to have that conversation with them, then you revisit it. You just have to know this. It's all about timing. If you don't feel that the individual is ready to have the conversation, why have the conversation? It has to be when both of you guys are mutually ready to have the conversation. So if you don't feel
Okay.
that he's ready to have that conversation, I don't think you need to do it.
What do you think, Jim? Did he go? Mm,
I don't know. Repeat the question again. I gotta hear this.
sorry. So in my case, I do not believe that my daughter's father has the communication skills to just decide when he should be a part of her life. So therefore, is it better for him to step away from doing the parenting thing where I don't have to worry about the support or anything? I shouldn't go into like child, child support court or whatever it's called. I don't know. Support court. Uh, the terminology I do not know. or for me to just ask for child support since he cannot communicate any other way? I can't change the question, but
Well, take it
like
away.
neither him nor I step away.
If fathers should always have the right to fight for their kid, but if you've seen something in the father that you felt isn't right for the child, and that's like I can't really. I have to say honesty because a lot of people don't like to be honest. But if you're honest about it, and there is a situation that puts your kids in danger, and you know
Mhm.
this, you have to put into you know, you have to put into the situation something to protect yourself from what you know can happen if you're
Okay.
being honest about it. But
Yep.
if you know that he's capable of doing what it is, if you give him the chance to,
Okay.
then I think you should give him the chance. Like I think everybody should like put their feelings aside when it comes to the kids.
Hmm.
Use your feelings in a positive way, actually, because you have to have feelings when it comes to the kids, but you also have to use some type of logic because it takes both to raise a kid. You know what I mean? So if you know you picked and choose them, you chose to lay down with a motherfucker. You know what I mean? So
But laying
you
down does not mean
right. So you should know who you lay down. If it was a hump or jump bug, you don't know the motherfucker. Then obviously, well, I got to be really cautious
Can you
about
say
the.
that? Wait. Can you say
I
that
don't
again?
even know. It can't listen. That was like a freestyle one right there. I'm about your butt. I don't even remember what I just said. But yeah, one of those motherfuckers.
Okay.
You should know. You lay down with the motherfucker, man. Come on. If you don't know, then obviously you need to protect yourself or try to get to know who that person is. You have, if you want to have this child, you got to do what it takes, and you got to
Hmm.
do it before the child comes out. Like hold it down before the child gets out, so you won't have that many. There's so much you could say. I don't want to go off on a rampage, but I'm trying to change my
I'm
life
trying to
around.
get a male perspective because usually on this,
Yeah,
it's
but I'm
just
trying to keep a level. I'm trying to keep a level head because it's frustrating when because when people go through things, they don't know how the other party really is feeling about it. We all feel differently in situations. So either man or woman on both sides, we don't know. We don't even try to take the time out to feel how they feel in that situation, or
Mhm.
try to come to an understanding how they would feel in that situation. So I know a lot of guys get dismissed because we're not allowed to have feelings. So it's like you're supposed to be the man, so do it. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that means even if we know that that's the only option or choice we have to eliminate feelings. And so if we have to eliminate our feelings about something, when men are passionate about shit, we have to eliminate that. It automatically brings us into a rage.
Well, I have a
So
question. I have a question. I have a question.
we act with that, and we get upset. We make bad choices. We
So
make horrible choices.
I have a question too.
Yes.
So who breaks that stigma?
Shit. There's a lot of
I'm serious. Like who breaks that stigma? Who breaks the stigma that
the only thing that can break any stigma is the people who work together.
but okay, but hold on. But you're saying, when you were talking about the guy can't get upset, can't do this, who breaks that stigma? You are entitled to your feeling, whether you are a man or a female.
Sure did.
You are entitled to those feelings. And I think because everybody assumes that they can't have those feelings. Nah, if you want to get upset, it's okay to get upset. It's the way that you do things when you get upset. It shouldn't always be rage. You should be able to calm yourself down so it doesn't get to a rage. But I get that people are pushed, but people only do what you allow.
You only do what you're really taught and raised around, to be honest with you.
But somebody has to break that stigma. You don't always have to get upset. You can have a level head.
How do you how did you learn how to not be upset?
How did I learn? I realized that there's some things in life that are way more important than me be getting upset about.
What made you come to that realization?
What made me come to that realization? Well, I can
Mhm.
say when I lost my a job that I had worked at for so many years, and then I came down here to Texas and I saw a different way. And Ahmad used to always say you have to see things from a different perspective. There are people that are less off than you are, that would get, that would love to have what you have. Like, you just have to change your way of thinking. So it's going through stuff that got me to feel the way I feel now.
Was it just that one moment that changed your life, or you had to go through a lot of different bad choices and decisions to
I
come to that
I
realization?
mean, it was that. I mean, that was one of it. But then, losing my mom and not being able to talk to her and get the level-headed stuff that I needed. It's a whole bunch of stuff. But I realized that as I got older, it's you getting upset about everything that only it only affects my health. It's not affecting anybody else.
So you're saying humans have that much control that they can stop themselves from being upset like that quick?
I mean, it takes practice. It's a choice. We have choices. It's all about the choices that we make. You can either
Everything to the
choose.
choice, right?
Everything is a choice. It's a choice to get all irate for no reason. And
Right.
again, the only person that you're affecting is your only person that you're hurting is yourself.
Right. At the end of the day, at the end of the only thing is hurting yourself. So if someone makes a choice against you, you're not seeing it that way. You have to react to it.
I'm not going to react to it because it's obviously but
But
you
no,
can't.
you have to react to it if it's a situation that brings you to a situation where you have to change your life around, your whole life around, the whole structure of your whole life. It changes your whole thing, and it's not for the better. Someone's situation, someone's decision could change your whole life. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, how are you supposed to? Are you supposed to just? I can't feel. I just have to stop feeling that way right away. Or do you? Is there a long period of time that this situation keeps affecting you, where you can't help but keep feeling some type of way?
Again, it goes back for me. I have to, like I say, I have to take a step back sometimes. And then me taking a step back and not trying to rehearse things over and over in my head, but sometimes I have to take a step back and do some thinking, read something, just do something that's going to get my mind off of feeling the way that I was feeling.
All right. So my whole thing is, how do we get people to think that way? Since we always have to go through things to even get a realization, to even come to that thought process of trying to change.
I think just people have to just start thinking broader and stop thinking. I think we are so accustomed to just seeing things so narrowly where we don't broaden our thinking, if that makes
Mhm.
any sense.
Yes, yes, that does make a lot of
So
sense, actually.
we get so close-minded into thinking narrowly when we don't think outside of the narrowness. And I think the more that we expand our thinking, I think the better off we'll be in some cases. I can't say for all cases, but I just think sometimes there's a way of, instead of, you have to channel it somehow, because being upset, being the color that we are, getting upset, it only hurts ourselves. And people don't, they think that we're just mad. We walk around with the attitude, not realizing what they did to get us to that point. So we have to stop the stigma of people always thinking that if you're not smiling, you're upset. And I know it's a lot to do, but we have to work on that, because as a society, they think the worst of us. And that's exact. Just because I have an expression on my face doesn't mean that's how I'm feeling on the inside, if that
I
makes
understand
any
that.
sense.
I understand that because my face always makes the evil look because of my eyebrows. They connect. So I'm always looking evil, but I'm smiling.
Right.
but but my whole thing is this. Do you agree that people think with their feelings first and end up making choices that change people's lives? Do you see that happening a lot?
Yes, because we are emotional human beings. That's what it is. We think with our emotions first without thinking thought wise. So
Right.
your emotions run higher than your thought process. So it's automatic. Well, I feel this way emotionally, so I'm gonna act off the emotions rather than off a thought.
But if all right, so my whole thing is that like we're trying to look for a solution for because we already know that even our race, blacks, whatever you want to say it is, um, that we think emotionally first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you said that when it comes to communication, nobody wants to listen, nobody wants to do anything. You said it before at the beginning, like we're just not doing it, but something we have to do. So if none of these things that we keep saying are not working at all, what would be our solution for things to change for people to comply?
Y'all in these onion peeling questions. That's a layered question right there.
Well, I'm just saying, like we just went through it. I went through it with you. We were discussing how people act emotional, think they don't think right when they do it. It's a human nature. It happens. We need people to listen, but they can't because they're thinking that way, and we can't stop them from thinking that way. So what can we do then? If that is a road we cannot go down.
I got to think on that one.
So like that's why I said when it comes to the child support for men, like just don't give us that role where we don't have other options to help out because we do, but due to the situation and how we're living and our life right now, we cannot really just jump and do what anybody just tells us to do.
But
And then
again, but hold on.
it's
But
all to hold on, it's all to a decision from someone thinking emotionally and not communicating and giving us the option to communicate or have better options to do so.
but is it both parties? So because I get it that a lot, I get that because you're a guy and you're seeing it from your from your perspective. But is it only just the woman that's doing the whole, not wanting to give the man the option, or is it that y'all are not coming together to discuss options?
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
If someone randomly in your circle
Mm-hmm.
just said the words child support, what would be the first thought that comes to your head? A man that's paying it, right?
Man or a woman, because it can be vice
No, no, no,
versa.
no, 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 no. Come on now. Let's
No,
be
I'm
real.
getting serious because
Let's be
there are
real,
because
Keisha. Let's be real about
I
this.
no, I'm you said to be real. The one thing about me, Kaylin will tell you, I am real. I'm saying it from both. I'm looking at it from both sides because women also pay child support. It's not only men that pay child support. Let's be real. There are women that pay child support because there are some women that don't want the responsibility of the child and they give them to the father. So there are stories I know of people
Stories.
that happens.
Stories. Does that compare to the majority?
Like I said, I don't know what the
No, no, no,
majority
no, no.
is.
Let's answer
You're
the
because you're
question.
just saying because see, you're just looking at it again. You're just
Well,
looking at
you
it
know what?
from
If you have to look at it in a majority way,
I'm
because if the
looking at it from
majority
both.
are
I'm
doing the
still
same
going
thing,
to look at it from both sides.
yeah, but in the real, you're really thinking majority because I know you're protected, but let's really look at it in the majority. Not let's put our feelings aside and our bias aside, and let's think the majority. We see in the world the majority. When you think of child support, it's a man paying it. That's the majority. We know this. That's all we hear. That's all we see. That's all it is, really. But we do hear those stories about women paying child support. Yes, there is. But the majority of people that have to go through this are men. Some of them deserve the shit. I understand that. But did you give them the option too?
There's
Some of them,
some, but
like the
there's
good guy,
some.
like the good guy that wants to do it, but forced to do it, and then you know what I mean. He ends up having to do shit he has to do. Did he get the option? No, we all get the same option. No option besides this or that, because there's nobody that even just comes out and say, "Hey," even cares enough to be like, "Hey, there are other options, because I know y'all just be going around humping like rabbits. And you don't know the rules. You don't know nothing. So here, let me tell you something. You have options if you want to better. If the people are thinking about the baby first, the people who are putting you on child support, if they thought about kids like that instead of the money, they'd be like, hey, these are these options for you since you're bringing a child into this. And since someone called us, and if you're calling us, that means you can't take care of the baby. Because the thing is about the baby. You're on mute. Oh, yeah. Oh, your mic's not working.
Well, I know of a young lady who does not get child support for her child, her little baby. She chose not to go do child support to get any support. She takes care of her child by herself because she didn't want to deal with the headache. And as she said, her thing was it's not about it's not about money. She just wanted her child's father to spend time with their son. It had nothing to do with money. And like you're saying, do some women think, do they give the men the option? There are some women that it's not about money. It's about the time that they spend together with the child, meaning the father and the child spending time together. They're not looking for monetary compensation.
Right. And I agree with those stories. There are a lot of stories and anecdotals of people's lives that, it's rarity to the majority. But I like to focus on the majority because that's where the problem lies.
But again, so what does the majority, because I know it's just what they want women to do on their end, but what do men think that they should be doing on their end to prevent all of that from happening in the first place?
Well, here's the thing. It all works out. We can't hear you, Kay, but it all works out in itself. If anyone calls the court system, there are those option systems. As soon as you call that system, obviously these are people that can't take care of the kids themselves. That's why they're calling us. They cannot handle it civilly. So someone called us, I need child support. Here's these systems now. You got to come to the court regardless. So here's these options. Solves a lot of problems right there.
Yeah, but who's going to tell them that they need to come up with these options? Nobody. Because everybody would prefer to just go to the court and hash down the court way rather than talking.
Actually, everybody prefers not to communicate.
Again, like we said, though, it goes back to communication.
I agree with you.
It goes back to communication. These two people, no matter how you feel about each other, you should still be able to have a civil conversation before it even goes to court where y'all can have an understanding. We're in 2022. If you can't sit down and have a conversation without getting the courts involved, it just goes to show that neither individual, either one is more mature and then the other's not mature, or neither one of them are mature. I feel, again, it goes back to conversations. You can have a conversation.
Yeah, I understand. I agree with you 100%. But Keisha, do you see anybody going along with that narrative in society today?
That's because but again, it goes back to a choice. It's a choice not to, because they prefer the world to be in their business. If you are a private individual, you would figure it out without having to get other people involved.
Right.
If you're willing to be civil. Again, there's so many, again, like you said, it goes back to people having emotions. So instead of them thinking civil, they're going based off of their emotions. So if she's pissed off at you, oh, I'm going to go to the courts and I'm going to take him to the cleaners, vice versa.
I understand. Do you think that, I thought this would be a good question. Do you think that since they could figure out an algorithm of robbery and murders and all that stuff in what street and this and that, whatever, don't you think they could figure out that most of the choices made for people to have kids is through emotional bullshit, and then set up a system for it to be better? Well, this is what I'm saying. Like all this stuff, all this information in our face, and for me just to be a regular old schmo thinking about it, how come they can't just help people out and make these laws or make these things, whatever laws or whatever they may be, for it to get done? How come people don't think about that?
Because they remember,
there's a lot of people that say they want their child taken care of, not fighting for things to happen for it to be better for their child to be taken care of, instead of just putting the guy through some shit or woman through some shit just to pay the money.
Like again, it goes back to, like you said, I feel like they can put stuff in place where it can be, they can be a happy medium, but people, they would prefer to see people get locked up because that's easier than to have people hash it out the right way.
I feel you. So do you think they have room to complain?
I don't
Like, do you
think,
think anybody have room to complain if they're not doing anything, or not even acknowledging what needs to be done for this to change?
I feel like in order for things to change, you have to, if you know that something could be done better, you have to do something about it. So people who complain, I feel like if you're complaining, you obviously like the way the things are happening. You can choose how this story ends. You know what I mean? You can choose the narrative. You don't have to go with the status quo. You can choose the narrative that you want. Again, it goes back to communication.
Right. Right. So how do we get, like, if there's people that how can I say this? If there's people out there that are advocating for what they don't even believe in, but they're only advocating for it because they feel some type of way, how do you think that's gonna help? If there's a majority of people doing that.
Advocating for what you believe in, or advocating
Advocate for
for.
what you're advocating for people that don't believe in what you believe in, but you're advocating for them just because you feel some type of way for them or because of what they are.
I feel like when you're advocating because you want to change. It's not. It's you want something to come out of, because it's again, like, I get the whole child support. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it that men pay and all of that. I absolutely get it. However, I feel like there's always some type of solution. It doesn't have to always be within a courthouse.
I agree with you. I really wanted to happen outside the courthouse, but when we came to an understanding was that no one communicates like that, and we don't see people even gonna try to communicate like that.
But why
You know,
don't people want? But my question goes back to the people that don't want to try. Why not try?
that's what I'm asking. Why not?
Why not
Well,
try? Because if to me, it makes sense to do it. I've seen people where I know people where it's, it comes out and it's they do it outside of court. The court only got involved because the parent had received TANF for something like that. It wasn't like someone went to the court and put the father on child support. It was all because of the family receiving TANF or whatever. So it can be done. It's just people don't want to do it for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know what everybody thinks or how everybody thinks. I only know how I think.
do you think a lot of women file for child support?
I'm going to say yes and no.
But you
Because
think a lot?
I know some individuals that did not. Again, like I said, they didn't go and ask for child support. The only reason why child support got involved was because they received TANF. So the government wants to get back whatever cash that they got. So they put they put the father on child support. I know several cases where that's happened. And the father was giving the mother money, and it was outside of the court.
Is that normal?
I mean, not all situations. Again, it goes according to the person. Some people.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm dead serious. You're asking me.
Oh,
I mean, some cases.
but
Like
I know it's kind of hard. I know it's kind of hard to not use the anecdotal situations that you know of. But
because I'm
I
saying
try my hardest to stay on the majority.
I'm trying to say, but I can't say for the majority. I can only say the people that I know of where I know that it's worked, and they've only gone to court. They've only gone to court because, again, TANF and stuff got involved. Would the majority of people do that? Absolutely not. A lot of people would take the father to child support court. But then there's some people that, again, they don't get money from the absentee father or whatever. They just take care of the child on their own.
Okay.
Yes, you may.
Baby, you done disappeared for this whole thing. You back?
Can you hear me though?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
I didn't disappear. I've been here, but you can't hear me. So I just ask
Yep,
again.
yep, yep.
Okay, sorry. I love
That's
my life.
I just think this, because I'm telling you, I went through the court system, and if I wasn't prepared like I was in a lot of different situations, I could have been fucked. You know what I mean? So, and I seen what they were trying to do, and they really don't even give you a voice, because if you're a person that doesn't even know the system, like you really don't. Nobody teaches you nothing really. Nobody really teaches you what happens in these situations, and due to that, you go and you make a decision, you make a choice, a
So
dumb
maybe
choice.
there should be court system classes.
But the court is already the court. They are child support and child support. People's lives have already been people's lives. I'm talking about not the past. I'm talking about the present to the future. You know what I mean? Like now that we're talking about, these should be set, like things should be thought about and talked about, and people should advocate for each other for it better. And if you heard about it, go say something about it to make some fucking changes. Instead of everybody always complaining about it, because that's all you hear is people complaining. And yeah, you may think I complain because I've been through it, and I don't want other people to go through it. But it's really not complaining. I'm being passionate about what I'm saying for a change, and not saying, "Oh, I'm a victim." I'm saying this is what needs to happen to make a change. People are going to go through it, but let's call out the people who are keep making this shit happen. You know what I'm saying? And call out and make and always have a solution at the end of the day.
I think we came up with a few solutions.
Hold on. Can I ask him a question before you come up with this? So, in your case, was she receiving cash assistance? Did she take you to court, or was it just something that like did you guys like have a mutual understanding prior to any of that? Like, did
My
she know what your
first,
expectations were? You know, what she expected or what you were planning to do? You know.
yeah, again about the answer.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, he asked me like 13 questions at once.
I'm sorry.
You got this.
I know. Well, with my first child, you know, she told me she was pregnant. We were together, still rocking out. We stayed together till he was like one. In like all situations, we're young and dumb, but we tried. And you know, when you let people around you influence your life, things tend to happen. And when you being young and dumb, you don't know that. You always uppity with your friends and always, you know, I just want to be around people. You let a lot of people in your life because you didn't experience it yet. So I've been through that thinking, you know, this female or my other could be loyal even if we have a kid, even though I know there was no loyalty, but it's about the kids. So I'm the type to stick around. But due to the influence, things happened and I was kicked out when my issue with that one was I put my all into that one thing. So me being kicked out, I go to automatically nothing. So you know what I'm saying? So me going to nothing, me using my resources to even have a roof so I could make decisions. You know, time flies, then all of a sudden you get papers, you're still in your situation. You have to deal with your situation with another piece of food on your plate. And the food don't taste good. So you just let that shit pile on, and then, you know, shit happens. Shit does happen. So that's what happened my first. And I had to end up the court system that way. I got through that. I had to really buckle down, be a man about mine and talk to her and try to work shit out with her. Let her know who I was, know who she was in this situation. Second, you know, still young and dumb. Still young and dumb, but you know, I made a decision, and I always made a decision to stick around. No matter what, I always stick around. I've been cheated on in the relationship. I stuck around. When it comes to the kids, I'm sticking around. You know what I mean? So no matter what it was, I decided I need to stick around. I was still learning how to be a man this whole situation the whole time, but I'm sticking around. I did have to take time out for myself, but when I hear things aren't right for my kids, I'm coming back and I'm coming around. I'm sticking around. Never went not too far where I can't get back to my kids. So, but due to life, I had to make decisions in my life. And that's why I'm here today saying there should be better options. Because if I had better options, I would be able to build my life and take care of my kids at the same time. But I was forced to be all types of different people so I could pay my child support. Put it that way. You're forced to become something that you don't want to be when somebody forces you out that door and you didn't make a backup plan. It's tough.
So maybe we should just do the school system different. You should do math, so finances and for doctors and stuff like that. You need math. So math is important. PE, physical education. Maybe know how to communication instead of just English itself, and learning how to articulate words, but also know how to speak them to another individual that may have a different opinion.
What they need to do is, how like they have the first year's experience for college students.
Mm-hmm.
They need to offer like a type of course like that, like, what would happen after you graduate from high school, like life experiences, things that you can expect, to happen. And then that could be something where you could, you know what I mean? You can add that type of course to it.
I like that, Keisha.
See?
You have the algorithm. That's what I'm saying. You have the algorithm of what a situation turns into. So if you wanted to make it better, would you change the algorithm of it? That's what I understand about what we do every day in life could fix every situation that we're going through. You pay attention to the algorithm. Like, people, dudes get fucked in child support. So let's change the system up so we can take care of these kids that's out here stinking diapers, running the streets while the mother's in the house talking about where's little Ray Ray. How you ask? You should know. You know what I mean?
Said budgeting is different than math, and that she's absolutely right. I said math.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's all part of financing too, though.
Right.
If you put it like a financial classes, there are levels to it.
There are levels to all of this stuff. And again, I put the question out there because the world is changing and the laws are changing, and some parents need to be out there and figure out exactly how they want to parent their child before they become a parent in certain states or areas, or because of religions. It's very important to know communication is the key, even when you're learning how to be a new mom, an old mom, a new parent, even though you already were a parent biologically, but you're now stepping into the child's life. It's important. Do you guys agree?
Definitely.
What do you think, Jim?
I agree.
Okay.
What?
I appreciate everybody and everybody in the chat today. I apologize. I don't know what happened with my system, but I think I might need a new one. Which means I get to go shopping.
I didn't get to see any of the chats. What were they talking about?
Oh, what were the people in the chat saying?
Yeah, let's do a quick response to the chats.
Okay, let's do it. So I responded to drunk and was incorrect in the beginning. I think he went back to watching football, which I get. Then Sana was talking about, she agreed. We are their first teachers in every other way. Keisha was saying that it starts at home.
Yeah, we are the first teachers.
And then we were talking about the age of menstrual cycles. And Sana answered, for some, it's 9. Then signing over parental rights. because it's a choice if you want
Don't forget
to.
about man and I just said the same thing. Silence is being compliant. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Lady Novella came in the building. All right, let's see. What else you got?
It's
Oh,
me talking about my difficulties. I got my difficulties, and I
we
apologize. April, do you want me to read it, or do you want to read it, Jim?
You go ahead. You go ahead.
They should probably make it a priority to learn about their choices if they are going to put themselves in situations. Advocate for self as well.
I think you agree with it.
I did. I agreed with her. I did. Oh, budgeting. We're down at the budgeting part. It should be legal to get someone that you don't intend to marry. Oh, it should be illegal to get someone you don't intend to marry pregnant.
That's a different way of putting it.
Yeah, you wouldn't be getting everybody pregnant. I can tell you that much.
But that's what I'm saying. All right, so I don't want to really get into it, but I know people get in their feelings when you say certain type of words. But if you really think about it and what it really is, it's not really something that is way back in the day, but it's like not really shame, but shame. Like you should know what you've done and what you're doing and why it is and what the situation. That's a bit of shame. That's how you even become. That's how you become accountable.
By so shame for both of them.
For everybody, like everybody needs to learn how to bring that kind of back and be real honest about what's going on. And stop allowing things to be around shit that you don't advocate for.
Keisha, you're quiet.
I'm listening. I like that it should be illegal to get someone pregnant that you don't intend to marry. Hey, but you know, in the heat of the moment, everything happens and you don't know, but I agree.
Yeah, you don't know. But that would be putting people.
Uh-oh. Well, she's been having technical difficulties.
Jesus.
Oh man. Well, she's about to close out the show. I really don't want to close out her show for her. So I am going to wait a little bit. I do want to thank everybody for tuning into the chat, tuning into the show. Thank you for hitting that like button. If you haven't, please hit that like button. Oh, there she goes. Perfect. Hey, there you go. She's like Casper.
It is a perfect time to end it so I don't throw this.
Is that a light skin show?
It is a light skin thing. It's totally light skin for me today. And I have no idea what happened. It's this computer is recording me right now for no reason.
Oh shoot.
Oh, God.
You must have said something about the people are watching.
I don't know. But it is telling me it's recording, which is not cool because I'm not dressed in my recording outfit.
Oh man. We don't need our recording outfits. Thank you
for
having me on your show. Appreciate it.
Are certainly welcome, as always. I'm going to hurry up and get off before something happens because it's saying something different. I thank everybody for showing up. Everyone in the chat, of course, Sana, I missed you. April, thank you for showing up. Drunk and Lady Navoa. I can't see anybody. What was that? Something connection. What was it, Jim? I can't see. There's someone else in the chat.
April Field.
No.
We got Sanaa. We got Cable. That's you. Lady Navoa. Naja Connection TV.
Yes.
My guy. Drunk was in the. Oh, there she goes. I'm going to end it for her because I don't know what the hell's going on. So thank you, Keisha, for coming through.
You're welcome.
I appreciate having a conversation with you.
All right. Same here. All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This is another episode of Ladies Like Us. There she goes. Hopefully she can hurry up and close out.
Goodbye.
Oh, my God. Y'all are hilarious.